Now, every single morning when we turn on our TVs or you drive past your local newspaper retailer and you see the headlines, you realize just what a shocking reality we live in. The violence, especially the sexual assault against our women and children, is an atrocity that we can no longer stand for, and we must stand against. The statistics do show that we have among the highest incidences of these incidents in the world.
Yeah.
And it's something that we, as the Expresso family, and I believe as an entire South African family, feel very strongly about, that we need to stand against. And that's why we are engaging in these very, very important conversations.
And here to engage with us, we have a very, very brave survivor of rape in studio to share her personal story, her journey, and of course to share with us how this can be prevented, and of course the fact that it does need to come to an end. We need to give a very warm and welcoming hand to the beautiful Lynn Witten in studio. You are an incredible woman. Thank you so much. I know that this is not easy, but you're here today, and hopefully what you're going to share with us will, kind of just give us some insight as to how we can avoid a situation like that. I don't even know if it's possible in a country like South Africa, because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you go to certain areas and it's going to happen there. It can happen anywhere, anytime, and that is what makes it so scary, especially in the last few weeks when we've heard stories of Uyenene, who just went to something as simple as a post office. You go to a normal place, and I do think it's time that we need to talk about this, and that's why I'm so proud of you that you're sharing your journey with us.
Now, if I could firstly ask, I mean, this is a little bit kind of off the center, but how did you get to this point now in your life where you are able to use platforms like an interview opportunity like this to speak about your story and thus be able to empower people, uplift people in communities? How did you get to that point?
I think I was one of those women that didn't come out, that didn't share my story, that carried with me for years and years, and only as an adult in my 20s. After some things that happened in my life, realized that I can't go on.
Yeah.
I'm living a lie. I'm living a farce, pretending to be one thing, carrying something else.
Yeah.
And I shared with nobody. And from that point, I've just become absolutely passionate about getting as many women together as possible to share their stories. Any opportunity I get, as I said yes before even realizing what I was saying yes to. Because courage comes after you say yes.
Yeah.
Because I just realized the damage that it did to me and those around me for not speaking out. And I just want to encourage, women and men out there that are carrying something that they're not sharing. Now's the time to step up.
Yeah.
We're in a different space in South Africa. We're in a different place. 40 years ago when I wanted to sort of come out and share, we didn't have as many support structures. We didn't have people like you that were willing to speak about it on national TV. It was something to be ashamed of, something to keep hidden.
Yeah.
And lots of us did, unfortunately.
And of course, that is something that we want to lift kind of the lid on today and say that you don't have to keep quiet about that. There is help available, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But there are so many terms going around: sexual assault, consent. What is sexual assault first and foremost?
Anytime somebody does something, a sexual act, to an individual, male, female, child, without their consent, that is sexual violence.
Yeah.
Simple and as easy as that. And if you could broaden on the concept of consent, because that is a very crucial thing to understand, what consent means and when is it applicable and not.
Well, firstly, consent is not applicable under the age of 16. So even if I'm younger than 16 and I say yes to something, it's not consent. And that I think we need to understand. So any child or any minor, even if they said yes, it's still sexual violence, it's still rape.
Yeah.
And consent is when you say yes, when you physically say yes. When you say no, the answer is no.
Yeah. And it's not a kind of implied sense of consent. Oh,
no.
It sounded or it seemed like it is an express or an expression of yes. Very, very important for us to understand these at the beginning of this kind of conversation. We'd love for you to be part of it as well. So please do engage with us on Expresso Morning Show SABC3. That's our Facebook page as we tackle the scourge of violence against our women and children, something that we as a country need to address very urgently right now.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
And we're back on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. We are discussing the issue of rape in a country that has the highest, or one of the highest incidents of rape in the world. Shocking statistics. We know that our media has been awash with it over the last few weeks. Devastating, discouraging, disgusting, of course, occurrences of it in our country where women and children are not only raped, but in many cases killed as well. And it is something that we need to talk about. We need to eradicate, we need to bring to an end. Enough is enough. But we also need to know, of course, if it does happen, what happens next. Because sometimes so many of the survivors and the victims don't know what happens next. And I was saying to our survivor in studio, Lynn Witten, who's joining us and telling us her story, that it actually breaks my heart that this is a conversation we're having, because in so many instances it is happening. A woman gets raped every couple of seconds in South Africa. So it's a very real situation, but we can't turn a blind eye, and we need to be talking about this in terms of the do's and the don'ts, that if it has happened to you, what happens next, immediately after that?
I think the most important thing to acknowledge that when you are raped or you've been a victim of sexual violence is to get yourself to a place of safety.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not in a place where you're safe, it's to get to a place of safety, and safety could be running to the neighbor. It could be calling one of the either rape line or lifeline or child line, if it's in the case of a child, to get you to a place where you feel safe. There are so many things which they say, you know, don't do, you know, don't take your clothing off. But in a situation like that, you have to acknowledge the fact that you're traumatized.
Yeah.
That you might not even remember your name.
Yeah.
You might not even remember the telephone number of a loved one. And you know, I would advise any young woman to keep the numbers of rape line and rape crisis on their phones as speed dial, or the number of a loved one that they can trust. You know, the person that you call must be somebody who's going to take it further and make an effort to help you. It mustn't be somebody that says, "Oh, shame, this happened to you. Let's keep it secret."
Yeah.
You know that. So the person that you call, it could be a teacher, it could be a counsellor, it could be the police that you call. When you call somebody, that person, I call it the person of effort, who is then going to phone somebody in authority, be it the police or be it in some cases they have to call emergency services. You will more than likely be taken to one of the Tutuzelu centres, which are rape centres attached to the national hospitals. So a rape victim is not taken into a normal trauma area. They do have special centres, and in that place, you know, evidence will be collected of you, which we'll talk about a bit later. So in the moment, if you have a cell on you and you've still got your cell on you, if you can phone, even just WhatsApp or even voice message a friend,
Yeah.
because that immediately then records the date and the time. Let them know where you are, because then there's an immediate recording of where you are, the date of what happened. Yeah. You know, and it doesn't have to be a long message. So that would be something really important. If you have been your clothing's been taken off, if you can pick up the clothing, even put back your underwear on, and keep as much with you that's available at the scene. And I know it's not nice talking about it, but those things can determine whether the person that has done this vicious, hideous thing to you actually gets caught and charged. versus not.
And I think to some people out there, it may sound like the most logical thing to do, to collect as much evidence as possible. But like you rightfully said, in that moment, you are traumatized, and there's very little that one can do to explain what that means to somebody who has never been in that situation. But in keeping with that, what are some of the things that one should try to avoid doing completely?
One of the things that you should really try avoid doing is washing. Washing and getting out of your clothing, because your body now is part of the evidence, and whatever they can collect off you is going to be so important. So try not going to the bathroom, and if you need to go, try and collect the sample so that you can take it with you, and to not take your clothing off and burn it. Because any situation you're in, you immediately feel dirty, you feel filthy, you feel shameful, you want to get undressed, you want to wash, you just want to wash the whole day off. I mean, we do it just coming from a day of work. That's the first thing most of us do when we come home, we take our clothing off. In this situation, it's one of the things that you should try not to, and I'm just going to say try not to, because so many times you land up, you do it anyway, and then you feel guilty about it. And the worst thing you need to do is start feeling guilty about all the actions you take or don't take after you've been through this. The most important thing is to be gentle to yourself, and that whatever you do is going to be normal for you. It might not be what the crime statistics say you should do, but know that what you need to do will be okay for you in that moment.
Lynn, thank you so much for being here with us and talking about this very, very important and urgent topic that we should all be talking about around dinner tables, around office, water coolers. It's a discussion that permeates through every facet of our society, and we need to start talking about this. So please do engage with us on our Expresso Morning Show Facebook page. Lynn is going to remain with us for another chat very shortly.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
You're back with your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Expresso right here on SABC3. Of course, we are shedding some light on gender-based violence, rape in a country that has one of the highest incidents of rape and gender-based violence in the world. I'm talking about South Africa. And we are joined this morning by survivor, because she's incredible, Lynn Witten, as she shares more about her own journey and her own story. Lynn, you are such a strong woman, and I'm so incredibly just proud and humbled at the fact that you're using something that happened to you to empower other women through this particularly difficult journey, because many people don't know what to do next. What happens next? What did you do after the incident of rape that happened to you? And where does one even begin? Do you report it? Did you report it?
In most instances, or in a lot of instances, it's not a once-off occurrence. So with me, it wasn't a once-off event. It occurred over a period of 16 years. So it wasn't something that's I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something today. And for the first 10 years, I didn't know it was wrong. Because often the person that is committing these acts of violence is somebody that you know, somebody close to you, and somebody that's convincing you that you're being a good girl by doing what they ask you to do. So in my case, that was the case. So it wasn't, I got up one morning, went to the police. As I said, it only happened in my adulthood, when I realized that I'm raising two beautiful girls, and the danger of me not sharing is that I'm not healing. And if I don't heal, I can't help my daughters grow up and be beautiful and be able to face and be courageous in this space. So if I'm doing it for myself, I'm probably doing it more so for my two daughters and for every other daughter out there. Because in this country, every daughter is everyone's daughter. In South Africa, we've got to look out for everyone. So I went for help probably at the age of about 16. And the system was not what it is today, and I didn't get the the help, and I didn't get somebody to go and chat to and walk this this journey with me.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important now that we put things like this on TV and we let people know that there is actually an option. There are people to talk to out there. Yeah.
If you were to give advice to the person of effort, as you described earlier on, the person in support who is contacted or spoken to about the incident, what would you have them know, understand, and communicate in the immediate moment?
You know, in the immediate moment is to make eye contact with somebody. You know, the worst thing that happens after you've been raped is that people don't want to make eye contact with you. They're looking everywhere else. It's like you're contagious in that moment, and it's to make eye contact with the person, to not physically reach out and touch them, because they might be fearful of the touch, but to let them know with your eyes and your body language that you are touching them with love, that you believe them. And that is the most powerful thing you can say to somebody is, I believe you. I absolutely believe you.
Sure.
If it's a minor and the child is younger than 16, whether it's your child or somebody else's child, by law, according to the Harassment Act, according to the Child Act, you have to go and report it to a place of authority, and you need to explain to the little one that you have to do that, and to take them along on a journey that you'll be with them on this thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be they're going to tell you and you're going to go off into the darkness somewhere. You're going to be on this journey with them.
Yeah.
And that's why I call it a person of effort.
Yeah.
Because it takes effort to stay alongside a journey with somebody.
Yeah. For anybody watching right now who has been raped, is there a helpline that they can call?
Yes, and you've got the number for rape crisis. To call that, it's a 24-hour number, and they will put you in touch with a counsellor, with somebody that will be able to listen to you and assist you on what you need to do next.
Yeah. Oh, Lynn, you have shared an incredible part of your story, and we appreciate that so much. Using this platform to speak to this very important topic, and I think you've really freed a lot of people's minds out there, and I really do hope that you found this conversation enlightening. Do engage with us on social media and tell us your stories, tell us about how perhaps you've been that person of effort, and through that you could be encouraging somebody else. That number is on the screen right now, and we as the Expresso family do say that enough is enough.